Well, hey, you guys, welcome. Happy Friday. It's a good Friday. That's the best Friday of all, is Good Friday. I mean, if we're going to rate Fridays, right? My daughter today, I said, it's Good Friday. And she's like, why is it good though? Because that's when they killed Jesus. And I said, because he took our place. So happy Good Friday to all of you. Hope that you all are doing well. Lots going on here. It's Resurrection Sunday on Sunday. I'm excited for it. I do love it. It's what matters most. Let me really quick make sure that I am live in other locations. Let's see here. No, I'm not. Okay, hold on. Okay, we're going now. All right, you guys, get in here. Who's watching? Who's watching? Do I have anyone on Facebook? Do I have anyone on YouTube? We check YouTube up. YouTube. I don't know. YouTube and X right now. Welcome to the new people on Facebook. I'm growing over there again after not growing for like 5 years. So I don't know what happened, but suddenly people are like, "Oh my gosh, where have you been? I haven't seen you in like a decade." So that's good. I guess I'll take it. Okay, I do have some people on YouTube. Hello. Thank you, Jesus. Yes. Evangeline777. Hey, Catherine, what's up? My sister's online. I've got a sister-in-law right now that is going to be having her first baby here, hopefully today. So that's always exciting. That's always, I'm one of 7. Okay. So there's a lot of activity, and I'm like near the first half of the 7 kids. So, we have like older children now, and then the younger children now are having babies. So it's exciting. I'm excited. A little girl, a new little girl is on the way. She's set to possibly arrive tonight, but you know, she'll show up when she wants to. So we're all anything yet? Like that's just the conversation. Oh, you can't hear me. Can you, Catherine? You can't hear me, Catherine? Am I muted? Now I can. Okay. Don't do that. Catherine, come on. I say this, I have done far into a show before, a recap where I just talked and it was on mute. So, if you can't hear me, let me know. So I have that like paranoia in the back of my head, like, oh my gosh, I could carry this whole thing and maybe they can't hear me. Okay. So lots going on. It is Good Friday. Praise God. He is risen. Well, he is risen. Yes. Price has been paid. And I did do a post on X and Facebook, all my socials, just recognizing the significance of this day, the ultimate sacrifice being paid. And originally, I mean, when we were created without sin until Adam and Eve took from that tree of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. They chose to disobey God. They chose for their own selfish desires to be like God. And when that happened, sin entered the world. And we are conceived in sin. We are sinless beings. And the only thing that can prevent us from being forever detached from God is his son. Jesus came and he sacrificed himself for us so that we can be set free from sin. I find it so significant, and I said this in the post, that after Adam and Eve sinned, they suddenly felt shame, right? They suddenly were like, oh my gosh, you know, we're naked. We don't have clothes on. And they felt that shame. And the Bible talks about how God provided clothing for them, which is like skin animal clothing. And that means that a sacrifice had to take place in order to cover that shame and to cover the sin. And that is just it's a foretelling of what Jesus then does thousands of years later, comes and sheds his blood to cover our sin so that we then can be in relationship with the Father. And there's such significance to, it's not just, this is where what I get all choked up on is, it's not just, you know, okay, now you can live, you know, you can be with God, and when you die, you go to heaven, that kind of thing. There's so much more to what the sacrifice that Jesus did for us represents and does for us. It empowers us to overcome sin. We don't have to be slaves to sin. We don't have to fall into sin. We don't have to walk in sin. And if we do slip up or something like that, because we're imperfect, we can ask for forgiveness and be forgiven because of the shed blood. We have eternity with Jesus. We get to be empowered, right? The Bible talks about how Jesus says, all of his authority has been given unto me. And then he tells us to then take that authority and go and to make disciples. And we have power over the spiritual world as well. So having dominion and taking dominion and having authority and walking in authority. And there's just so much that God has done for us. And also, we're not destined for the day of wrath. I know some people will find that contradiction contrary, but we aren't. I fully believe that the Bible is true, and the Bible says we're not destined for the day of wrath, and we're escaping that wrath because of salvation and what Jesus has done for us on that cross. And when he said it's finished, he meant it's finished. It's done. It's a free gift. Anyone can take it. Anyone can have it. Anyone can be in relationship with Jesus. Anyone can abide in him. The Bible says that God is standing at the door and he's knocking, and he wants us to open that door and have relationship with him. But he's not going to force it down. And I always talk about this because I am starting to see some more militant Christian kind of verbiage start to take place on social media. But God, he is a gentleman. He's not militant in any way. He's going to knock on that door, and it's up to us to accept it. He's not going to push the door down. It's a free choice. We get to choose. There's no force in it. And it has changed my life. It's the best. It's absolutely the best. I've seen God move in my life. I've seen him do incredible things in my life. And he's got me through situations where I'm like, I don't know if I can get through this. And it's because of my relationship with God and Jesus that I have been able to get through stuff that I was like, I don't think I'll be able to get through this. So praise God. Praise God. Praise God. I've got a little, hold on. Cash. I'll say hi to Cash. Oh, he's on the ground. Cash, do you want to come here? Do you want to say hi? No? Okay. Take him out. He's like, no, I'm not ready for my appearance. My kids are home today, so that they just came in. They just came in, and the dogs came in. Okay, I know he can open doors. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, hey, we're live. Okay. So let's get into it. That was my little take on Good Friday. But I also want to post at some point. I do want to post on my socials because there's dispute, the Islamic faith, Jesus was great, but he wasn't, the son of God, and he was a great person. And the Jewish faith, not believing that he was the Messiah. But when you really start to study scripture, there's so much that was prophesied about Jesus that had to be fulfilled in order for him to be the Messiah. And he literally fulfills it all. And there's still unfulfilled prophecy that's coming into play in eschatology that I often talk about a lot, if you guys follow me, that we're seeing come into play now. So it's just incredible. It's an incredible time to be alive. The Bible is true. It's a living, active word of God. It's Holy Spirit inspired. It's just as relevant years ago today that it was years ago. So I think I said that backwards, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. Anyways, yes, he lives. Such a celebration coming up here. So, wow, there's a lot going on. I found this one interesting to me, and I'll dive into some of the stuff that happened this week more than others, but there's just some highlights. I did dive into this a little bit more with my supporters on my Minute with Mama videos that I do for them this week. But I did talk about Letitia James, which is just fascinating to me. If you guys don't know, Letitia James is the Attorney General of New York. She's the one that successfully brought a civil lawsuit against Trump for mortgage fraud. basically, lying about property. They accused him of inflating his values for property to get better deals, better loans, etc. And especially his Mar-a-Lago. Now, Mar-a-Lago is probably, I mean, it's it's worth so much. And of course, you had a leftist activist working on this whole thing, and they said no, it's probably only worth 18 million, which is just absurd. It's obscene. And they did this. It was a roundabout way to get the label convicted, right? They wanted a convicted felon. They wanted that label for Trump. And so I think they got him for like 400 something million dollars or something like that. And what's so crazy about this story is now Letitia James, she's now facing charges for mortgage fraud. She allegedly lied on mortgage forms to try to get the best rates possible. She said that her dad was her husband on one of the forms. Because sometimes married couples often will get better rates, better deals. So she just, I'll say it's my husband, which is a lie. Like, you can't do that. Also said her principal residence was in Virginia. And so a principal residence, often you'll get a better rate and better deal of like, that's your principal residence. I don't have multiple properties. So, and if I was, like, I would have to claim the one I'm at now as my principal residence. And then if I wanted to buy other properties, I wouldn't they're more investment type, right? So you don't get as good of a rate in some cases. So she lied and said her dad was her husband for a residence in Virginia to buy when she lived in New York. So now there's this like controversy, like, well, can she be the Attorney General of New York if she technically declared residency in another state? Like, what are you doing as AG in New York? So that's also being talked about now. And she said she had a 4-unit property when she really had 5 units. So what's wild is she knows she did all this, right? And maybe I just have like a more of a guilty conscience, but like, if I knew that I was guilty of something and I'm like talking about everybody else doing it, and I'm bringing a charge against somebody for inflating property value or something like, that even has to do with the whole mortgage industry, and I myself am guilty, possibly allegedly guilty of doing the same, and it's pretty cut and dry. Like, they presented the evidence, and it's like, and you're looking at time here. Like, mortgage fraud can be like up to 3 years in prison, I think, or something like that. You guys can check on that for me. But like, the audacity for this woman to be like, yeah, we're going to get Trump. We're going to get him. When you yourself have committed crime, have committed a felony. I mean, wow. And what poetic justice is taking place right now is amazing to me. It's amazing to me. So we'll see this unfold. I think it'll become more of a story. She's kind of laid low on it. She hasn't really talked that much about it. And then it's always the victim, right? I think she's talked once, and she was like, oh, it's, they're the rights, the far right are accusing, like, all pointing the finger instead of just like addressing the issue itself. She hasn't really done that. So, we'll see what happens with that. In my opinion, we should believe what someone says, and it's up to them to correct it or say it's a joke. But it's not a joke. It doesn't make you laugh. I don't know. That might not have something to do with what I'm talking about, but I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this one. What else has happened? The Italian minister visited Trump this week. They talked more trade deals. I do like her. She's more conservative leaning in Italy. President Trump made several critical statements this week against Harvard University, talking about why are we giving them any kind of federal funding, like, whatsoever, when these kids are going into these universities, they're being indoctrinated by the far left. I mean, you're not going to get any right. You're not going to even get middle of the road professors. You're going to get like communist, leftists, hate America, hate this country, down with capitalism professors. If you go to these elite universities, that's what you're going to get. That's what they put out, right? So why are we giving them any kind of federal funding, which caused a huge, debate taking place about why are we giving federal funding at all to these elite universities when you have to be fairly, like, very wealthy to attend. You have to have parents that can afford to send you there, or you get some huge scholarship of some kind. But why? Like, why don't we give federal funding to the trades? Like, right? Like, why don't we give a lot of our federal funding to like the trade workers out there that are learning a trade, that are actually probably going to end up surviving AI? Because I feel like that's the route you should be going right now. If you're raising children, I would be advising them to go into the trade, something that AI technology cannot overtake. But why are we giving Harvard federal funding? So then Obama chimed in, everybody was talking about it, but I made this video a while back, and I feel like it's relevant again today. So here you go.
I am a recruiter for your typical elite college or university. If you're ready to fundamentally transform your child into someone completely unrecognizable, send them our way. For just $50,000 a year, we can rid your child of all the values and ideologies that they were raised with. Your child will learn to hate you, themselves, the color of their skin, their gender, their upbringing, their socioeconomic status, and their country. Your child will sit under the teachings of socialists, Marxists, communists, and terrorist sympathizers who hate capitalism, organized religion, and individual thought. Your child will become a group thought thinker and will regurgitate these newly programmed thoughts to you in an irritated, angry manner at your next family gathering. Your child will call you a boomer and tell you that your way of thinking is outdated and pathetic, and that you, yes, you, are pathetic. Your child will learn to create tent cities and roadblocks while also learning some catchy dance moves at their next campus protest. So if your child is in their senior year of high school and you're thinking to yourself, what do I do with them next? Send them our way.
Send them our way. I mean, why would you do that? Like, when you think about it, when it's put so plainly, like, why would you do that? And that's a real conversation my husband and I are having, like, as we're raising children. My oldest is 13, a teenager now. And it's like, well, because I was raised, you go to college, you go to high school, and then you go to college, and that's what you do. And so that's what I did. But now, and I hit the tail end of it. I'm going to be honest with you. I hit the tail end of it with the pushing, like, very far left, like, ideologies. I sat under some really far left professors at school, and I remember thinking, like, what is this? I'm supposed to hate myself? Like, what? It was like crazy, but it was like readily accepted by a lot of the people in the class. And I had to take a women's studies course. Oh my gosh, like, just full of rabid women in there that just hated the patriarchy. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that was like 20 something years ago. How much has it increased? How much has it gotten more and more and more, like, left leaning? And so I can't even imagine now. And that's why you have, like, these highly educated people that are like, oh, we vote left, obviously, because you've been highly and heavily indoctrinated. Of course. That makes sense to me. Yes. How many years of school have you had? Yeah, then you're definitely going to be a far leftist. It's just like the longer you're incubating, the more far left communist you go, is what I found. So it's a real conversation that parents need to have now. Like, what's the game plan, right? When you get out of high school. And I do think I'm leaning towards more trade. If you want to get a degree in business where you're not taking a lot of these leftist courses, and then maybe start your own business that's in the trades. I don't know. We have to be more strategic here. And it's ridiculous for parents to raise your children with values and morals and an outlook, a world outlook, a world view, and then have it completely just annihilated when you send them off to school. Like, why would you do that? That's dumb. Like, that's dumb of parents to do that. Like, don't do that. So it's like, I'm not going to do that. So it's like, I got to come up with a plan here. Like, what's the plan? I hope that more parents really take heart to where they're sending their children and what teachings they're sitting under. It's very, very important. We have to be involved. We have to be engaged. We have to know who's teaching, educating our children. And I've heard so many stories of, she went off to school. She loved the Lord. She even led worship at church. And then she's, lost her mind when she went off to school. It's like, enough of that. Like, we don't need any more of those stories. So I don't think we need any federal funding to Harvard or any of these elite leftist propaganda college and universities. Like, they don't need it. They don't need it. Okay. And we don't need to give it to them. So that went up. That was a big discussion this week. Also, the Department of Justice has sued Maine over their transgender athletic policy. On April 16th, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced the Justice Department lawsuit against Maine, alleging the state's policy is still allowing transgender athletes in girls' sports, violating Title IX. Here she is bringing charges.
The Department of Justice is announcing a civil lawsuit against the Maine Department of Education. The state of Maine is discriminating against women by failing to protect women in women's sports. Pretty basic stuff. This is a violation of Title IX. The Department of Justice will not sit by when women are discriminated against in sports. This is about sports. This is also about these young women's personal safety. I've met many of these women throughout the past weeks and months, and what they have been through is horrific. We have exhausted every other remedy. We tried to get Maine to comply. We don't like standing up here and filing lawsuits. We want to get states to comply with us. That's what this is about. We have repeatedly notified Maine of its infractions and urged them to remedy the situation to protect women. We've stripped grants from Maine through other departments, and we are going to continue to fight for women.
For me, I just don't understand the logic here. And I think it's lacking logic. Is like, why is the left, like, they lost the last election because Americans, the middle, like, not the right, like, let's not even talk about the right, the middle, the person that's in the middle, that's like being told that clearly this person is a male, totally a dude, and they're being told that, no, that's a woman. And it's like, no, it's not. It's a dude. It's a man. It's a guy. And the middle is not receiving that. So the left is pushing this on them. It's like, no, it's a girl. It's a girl. It's a woman. It's a woman. It's a girl. But the person in the middle, not even on the right, is like, no, it's not. Like, it's clearly, obviously a guy. Like, it's a dude. And the middle's not taking it. The middle's not receiving it. And in order to win elections, in order to win, you have to win that middle. You have to win that person right there. And it's amazing to me that the left is like, we're going to stick with this. We're going to stick with it. We want men competing against women in women's sports. We want guys changing next to women in women's sports. We want dudes in the locker room. And that's what we are going to fight for it. Like, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's a losing argument for the left. It's ridiculous. And maybe they're so far left and they're so far in their own world that they think that. Okay, so when you talk left, maybe I'm understanding it as I'm talking, but they're very much feelings, right? It's all emotion. It's all feelings, and they don't want to hurt feelings. Like, is that it? If you're a leftist on here, like, is it feelings operated? But you don't care about the feelings of the women, right? The uncomfortable feelings that the woman has to feel when she's in the locker room and she's got a man undressing in front of her. Do her feelings not matter? Does her training not matter? Does her getting up at 5 a.m. and getting to practice and then going to school and then going back to practice, because that's what these athletes do, the sacrifice that's involved, does that not matter? Does it not count for her? Like, I don't understand the left logic in this. I don't think I ever will. If it's like, if you're going to talk feelings, then we have to bring the woman's feelings into the picture as well, just as much as you want to bring in these transgender athletes who are men. You're not seeing women be like, oh, I'm going to act like a guy and I'm going to go play in the NFL. That's the plan. I'm going to go, I'm going to take some steroids. I'm gonna try out for the Broncos. You don't see that. Why? Because women are inferior when it comes to physical attributes. Like we just are. It's reality. Okay. Like, I live in reality. Ask a leftist who's the next year NFL. You don't see that. You don't see it. Drives me nuts. This was an awkward moment, though. I don't know if you guys remember this. It was last month. Trump is having some kind of, I don't know, banquet or something like that. And then the governor of Maine is there. And this is an awkward moment. Like, we just have to relive it. We have to relive it because, so let me see if I can find it here. This.
AA has complied immediately, by the way. That's good. But I understand Maine. Is Maine here, the governor of Maine? Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
Well, we are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it, because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
See you in court.
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
Awkward. She's like, I'll see you in court. Like, why is this Maine governor like so adamant about having men play against women in women's sports? Like, what is it? Help me understand it, because I don't get it. But that was awkward, like so awkward. And awkward, like, if I was in that room, I'd be like, ah. And then the Maine governor, like, she's like, yeah, I'm here. He's like, okay, well, and I am the federal government now. I love that line. It's like, okay, let's go. All right. So, let's keep going. I try to look at your comments here and there. Yes, I do too. I love when the president is direct and honest. Totally straightforward there. Just shut it down. Okay, we got to talk about the Maryland man, because that's all we've heard this last week is the Maryland man. He's a man, and he's from Maryland, and he's a father, and he's a Maryland man. He's a man from Maryland. He's a Maryland man, and he's a man that's Maryland, and Maryland man. Oh my gosh, like, make it stop. In reality, let's just talk again. Let's go back to reality, because the media won't do that for us. I'm talking about Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia. That's his full name. That was living in the United States illegally. He's from El Salvador, living in the United States illegally, and he has been deported back to El Salvador. Now, the left is losing their mind over this. That this is another thing. They're like, no, illegal immigration. We want illegal immigration. Keep the criminals here. Like, that's another thing that the dudes in sports, and let's keep the borders open. Like, so far, that's their platform. So, again, this is something that they're fighting so hard for. So let's find out. Let's just read a little about this guy and who's he about. Okay. So, he was born July 26th. This is Garcia. who's now in El Salvador. Garcia was born in 1995 in San Salvador, El Salvador. He entered the country illegally in 2011 at age 16. He married Jennifer Vasquez Sura, a U.S. citizen, and they have 3 children, 1 biological son, 2 stepchildren. On March 2019, Garcia was detained by ICE, accused him of being an MS-13 gang member based on confidential informant's claim. An immigration judge denied Garcia's asylum request, but granted withholding of removal order protecting him from deportation to El Salvador due to a well-founded fear of gang persecution. He was released, received a work permit, and complied with annual ICE check-ins. March 2025, he was deported. ICE detained him in Maryland in an IKEA parking lot while he was with his children. He was then ordered to go to El Salvador, and they're saying that he's been in prison without trial due to terrorism confinement center, a notorious maximum security prison. Okay, so the reason why this is happening is the Trump administration is now justifying his deportation because they're saying that he is there's ample evidence to suggest that he is an MS-13 gang member. And I saw this yesterday, and I wish I had it, and I don't. But there's specific gang tattoos that a lot of these MS-13 gang members have, and somebody did like a close-up of Garcia's hand, and they look very similar. I don't have that right now. I should pull. I would advise you to go look at it, and you can make your own assumptions. They're saying that he has all sorts. They have evidence that he is a gang member, and they have intelligence that has also reported this. However, he has not been charged in the U.S. with a crime. And so now the left is arguing that he comes back to the United States. So they want this guy back, even though the Trump administration is saying no, that he's got ties to MS-13, which is a insanely notorious, violent crime gang, like trafficking, murder, rape, all of it. Like they're bad guys. Okay, they're the bad guys. And that he is affiliated with them. Now, I don't have that evidence that Trump is basing this off of. I don't. But I have to believe that they have more intelligence than I do, right? They have, and it's going back and forth right now. It's a legal battle. I'm going to believe that if they have intelligence suggesting that this guy is an MS-13 gang member, then oh my gosh, yes. Why we shouldn't have any? First of all, we shouldn't have any MS-13 gang members in our country, okay? And we need people to come to this country legally. So if you enter this country illegally, you already are violating law, right? You're violating law. You are committing a crime, right? If I go out and I decide to go, 130 miles an hour down the freeway here, I'm committing a crime, right? Because that's the law that's in place. To enter this country illegally is you're committing a crime. So this guy comes into our country, enters it illegally, and allegedly has ties to MS-13. Well, the left now has taken this up like they are just all about bringing this guy back to our country. And you've got Senator Van Hollen from Maryland went down there. He was all over the news this week. You couldn't have gone on social media without seeing his face, trying to get to talk to Garcia. He wants to bring Garcia back. And then, so this is a video I'm going to show you here. But then after this video, since this video, there's been pictures of him actually meeting with Garcia. They're having drinks together. It looks like Garcia is fine. The left was claiming that they need proof of life about this guy. He's alive. He's well. He had drinks with the senator, but here's the senator saying, just here he
landed at the airport in San Salvador a little while ago. I'm now en route into the city, looking forward to meeting with the team from the American Embassy. And I do want to thank our Foreign Service officers and the whole team at this embassy and embassies around the world for all the good work they do on behalf of our country. I'm proud to co-chair the bipartisan Foreign Service Caucus that stands up for the men and women who are serving our country overseas and at home in the State Department. After that, I hope to meet with some high-level government officials from El Salvador. As I've said before, the goal of my visit is to talk to people here about the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. I told his wife and his family I would do everything possible to bring him home, and we're going to keep working at this until we're successful. I also hope to have the chance to meet with him, but we'll have a better idea if that works out a little later on.
Okay, so this guy he's really fighting hard to bring the illegal back to our country. Currently, where it stands right now, there's an initial lawsuit filed March 24th, 2025. Abrego's family sued U.S. officials to secure his return on April 4th. A U.S. District Judge Paula Zenas, I think you might pronounce it, ruled his deportation illegal and ordered his return by April 7th, citing the violation of his 2019 protection order. The Trump administration appealed delaying compliance. The Supreme Court decision on April 10th, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld Zenas' order requiring the administration to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from CECOT, that's just the prison, and ensure his case is handled as if he had not been deported. However, the court paused the April 7th deadline and asked Zenas to clarify her use of effectuate, citing difference to the executive branch in foreign affairs. So now there's a debate whether the executive branch has dominion, and it does, over immigration. And so why does the judge trump the executive branch when it comes to immigration? So there's this whole debate taking place now. People are saying that Trump is defying the law because he's not adhering to a judge's order. The executive branch is saying, we have jurisdiction over this. We are the executive branch. Immigration lies with us, not with you. And so it's this whole argument is taking place. And then we've seen this guy, Garcia's wife, all over the news. But then it came out, I think it was a couple days ago, that Garcia actually has a domestic violence allegation against him. April 16, 2025, DHS released a 2021 civil restraining order filed by his wife, alleging that Garcia had punched and scratched her during a disagreement. She later clarified she sought the order cautiously due to domestic violence in another relationship. So now she's trying to defend it because they have a GoFundMe going. If the guy punched her and hit her and she got to the point where she calls the police and it's all on file, violence, right? Obviously there's a history of violence there. Currently, as of April 17, 2025, Garcia remains detained. And then you've now seen this senator go down, met with him. They talked. They're trying to get him back, which is just crazy to me. And to be honest with you, the whole thing just disgusts me. It just disgusts me because here we have a U.S. senator that is going through great lengths to get an illegal immigrant back into our country, when this guy did absolutely nothing. When a mother, I think Rachel Morin, was brutally raped and beaten, and her body dragged 150 feet, and just completely mutilated by an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. This happened in this guy's same state, okay? Van Hollen state. It happened in Maryland. And this guy did absolutely nothing. For an American, right? For an American, has this Senator Chris Holland, have you checked in? Van Hollen, have you checked in on Rachel Morin's family? Have you checked in on how they're doing? Have you gone to great lengths to make sure to assure her family that justice will be done? The left is so everybody else before America. everybody else before him. This guy is flying to another country to go to great lengths for someone that's not an American when he can't even check in on Rachel Morin's family. And Rachel Morin's mother actually is now kind of speaking up about all of this because, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? She was at a press conference and she went into description about what was done to her daughter. And this is what I don't understand either is crime can happen to anyone. Like it's not like it locates who's left and who's right. It's not like it says, "Oh, okay, I won't attack that young girl running out for a morning run because she voted left." It doesn't. So allowing these criminals in our country endangers the left just as much as it endangers the right. And how horrible would it be for these people that are advocating to keep these criminal gang members here, these people that have committed atrocious crimes? And I'm not speaking necessarily about Garcia, but a lot of these people have committed atrocious crimes. And then to advocate to keep them here when down the road they could commit a crime against you, the one that's asking to keep them here. Doesn't that, I mean, where is the logic in that? Like, what? I don't know if Chris Van Hollen has children. I don't know. I don't know if he has children, if he has daughters, if he has sons. It just, great lengths to get to this guy. Great lengths. News conferences, press conferences, making flights, doing whatever he can to do just to get the illegal back in the country when he can't do anything to reach out to people that have been so harmfully impacted by illegal immigration, so harmfully impacted by Joe Biden's open borders for 4 years, letting people, God knows who is in this country at this point. Everyone should listen to Patty Morin. That's Rachel Morin's mother. They should listen to what was done. Because if you actually sit there and you listen to what happened to Rachel Morin, I don't think there's anyone on any side of the aisle would say, yes, we need more of this. We need to know who's coming into our country. We need to know why they're here. And if they've come illegally, they need to leave. Respect our laws. And this El Salvadorian that murdered Rachel, he showed no remorse. That's what Patty Morin says in the courtroom. Zero remorse. Zero remorse. I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. There's no words. Like, there's no words. And then I also have to think, like, isn't this a violation of the Logan Act? Like, this senator, like, on whose authority is this senator going to El Salvador? Like, who has commissioned him? Like, who are you speaking for? You're not speaking for the United States. You're not speaking for me. You're not speaking for other Americans that abide by the law, that believe in legal immigration. You're not speaking for us. You're not speaking for the president. Like, who are you? What are you doing? What? I mean, and the Logan Act is basically, it was enacted in 1799 that prohibits unauthorized private citizens from engaging in correspondence or negotiations with foreign governments regarding disputes with the United States. Like, to me, that sounds like exactly what this guy did. We should see the DOJ come out and slap this guy with a violation of the Logan Act. Because who are you speaking for? Yeah. Sorry, that Rachel, she was a mother. She had so much life in front of her, stolen because she went for a run. Like, where is the left on this? All right, we're moving on. Okay, this also set the left off, and I don't know these people. This really, they lost their minds when RFK said this. And just listen. Let's just listen to this happen this week. RFK, a junior, has stated that he wants to find out the cause for autism. So here you go.
This is an individual tragedy as well. Autism destroys families. More importantly, it destroys our greatest resource, which are children. These are children who should not be suffering like this. These are kids who, many of them were fully functional and regressed because of some environmental exposure into autism when they're 2 years old. And these are kids who will never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never use a toilet unassisted. And we have to recognize we are doing this to our children. And we need to put an end to it. And I think I'm going to have...
So that really upset people. That really set the left off. They were outraged that RFK said, there's a lot of things that children with autism, people with autism will not be able to do. The left is approaching this as if, wow, how dare you? I have a child that, is composing incredible symphony pieces. I have a child that is so brilliant that, they're on the track Einstein was. I get that. Right. I understand that. And there are probably people on here that have children with autism or know people that have a loved one that has autism. But the fact that, let's just read this, 1 in 31 children now in 2025 has autism. 1 in 31. 1 in 31, you guys. In 2012, it was 1 in 69. So in 2012, 1 in 69. In 2000, just 25 years ago, it was 1 in 150. So we've gone from 1 in 150 to 1 in 31 in the last 25 years. Now, regardless if you're on the left or on the right, I think the question should be, why are people so upset that RFK Jr. wants to find out why this is happening? That's what he wants to do. Why are people enraged about this? Like, why? What is it? And maybe that's a question that, as a parent, if you have a child with autism, like, don't you want to know why? Don't you want to know why the uptick? How we went from 1 in 31 to now, we went from 1 in 150 to 1 in 31 in 25 years. Like, what has happened? What has changed? What is different? Don't you want to know that? I would think that you would want to know that. You might hate Trump. You might hate RFK Jr. But if you've got a child that has autism, I would think that you would want to know, hey, what's caused this? Let's find out what has caused this. And that's what he wants to do. So I don't understand the hysteria over it. I was online yesterday just kind of scrolling, and I saw so many, and you got to follow the left. That's what I do. I'm always listening to the left because I have to know where their head's at. And they were just outraged, just so mad that RFK Jr. wants to find out why. Let's find out why. And then you should ask yourself, why hasn't anybody else wanted to do this? Like, why hasn't anybody else been like, hey, I'm seeing like a tremendous increase. So can we find out why this is happening? Nobody else has wanted to do this before. And I think that RFK Jr. should be cheered on, that he's willing to get up there and say, you know what, we got to find out why this is happening. We need to find out the root cause. We need to find out what is happening that has caused us to go from 1 in 150 to 1 in 31 in just 25 years. Like, I mean, that's significant change, you guys. And we want to find out why. So, but I think you guys should know that the left does not want that. They're very upset. They're outraged, and they are just fuming online right now. I mean, multiple posts about this. Like, it's nuts that this makes them so mad. And I mean, if I was a parent of someone of a child that had autism, I would want to know what's caused this. And I'm sure there's all sorts of different psychological things involved, because sometimes when you start to ask deep questions, it leads to answers that you don't want. It leads to hearing things that you don't want to hear. But if we can prevent this, if we can stop it, then you've got to ask the tough questions. And that's where we're at. So, the left is claiming it's genetic. Yes, I've heard this, but then why have we gone from 1 in 150 to 1 in 31 if it's genetic? We'll see. We'll see what happens, right? But I'm thankful for someone that wants to find out why. Like, again, it's the stuff that they pick to fight over just blows my mind. All right, we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon here. But of course, this did take several headlines over the week. Oh, you had a woman team. Can we say woman? Can we define woman? I don't know. I don't think the left can either, but a bunch of women went to space, kind of, sort of, maybe. I don't know. Did they? We'll find out. But Blue Origin, the flight to Blue Origin flight, right? A bunch of women, they are very wealthy, lots of cash, celebrity status. They took Jeff Bezos's rocket up to space, kind of. There's dispute about them just going to the Karma line, which is like right in between like space and Earth, kind of like, and it's like, that's why you saw like the lack of gravity. Some were saying that they just went up far enough to kind of like, they weren't even really in space. They were just kind of like the lack of gravity allowed them to slightly float, and then they came back down. Some are saying that didn't even happen. They didn't even go to space. So we're going to look at a few videos here. Also, Gayle King, very upset about the response that she's getting from her trip to space. But here's the Blue Origin, their female crew. So happy.
1, 2, 3, taking up space!
Tamir's in space.
It's okay. Leave Flynn up there. Flynn, behind you. Look.
Flynn, I gotcha. I gotcha, Flynn.
Gotcha. Proud of you, Flynn.
Flynn, can I get him?
Oh, the moon! You guys, I will have to tell you, look at the moon. That's amazing.
Wow, look at the blue line.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goddess.
Wow.
Oh my That's our pink moon. Okay. Now it's time to look out that way. Oh my gosh. She's so much. Oh my gosh. Whoa. That's amazing.
Okay. So they spent billions of dollars. I mean, I don't even know how much this thing costs, right? Like, I don't even know. And they really were expecting like the world's response to be like, wow, like, look at the accomplishment. They've gone through so much training. They've dedicated their lives to get to this point, and we should just let's gather and applaud these ladies. But that's not what happened, right? They had a lot of money. They were able to afford to be launched up into space with little to no training at all. I'm hearing that they had a couple days of training where they learned to put on their seatbelt, they learned to get in and out of the capsule, they learned how to communicate with the ground, and then also, which is funny because no one is receiving this, not even people on the left. Everyone's upset about it. The left is like, how much did you destroy the planet when you went up to space? How much carbon emission was in the rocket? Like, so the reaction to this giant, I would say, roller coaster ride that went super high has not been what these women wanted. And when they arrived back on the ground, I mean, they acted like their lives were changed. They acted like they're just no longer the same people anymore. They were kissing the ground. It was a giant, some would say a giant commercial. So of course I had to do a satire on it because that's what I do. So
It was a life-changing experience. I'm a completely different person now.
I gotta kiss the earth. I do. Just give me a moment. Thanks.
I can tell you, in complete sincerity, since I got back, that my skin has never looked better.
There were moments, and I'm not gonna lie, where I didn't know if we were gonna make it back.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. If we had not done the extensive training that we did, I don't think we would have made it back.
Communication is gonna be key. I understand that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes, I'm gonna need some direction. So I take the strap and I just pull it across my chest like this. And then I click. Do I click? Do I wait for a click? Do I keep pushing until there's a click? I need this training. I'm sorry. I need you to repeat that. So to get in the capsule, I lean in like this. And then to get out of the capsule, I take myself out of the capsule. Is that right? I mean, after the flight, I realized that my hair had so much more volume. I don't even have to do my hair anymore. Like, I woke up and it looked like this. I mean, to be a woman in space.
Can you expand on what it means to be a woman?
Any other questions? I now know how the astronauts in space that were stuck up there forever, I now know how they felt.
Weren't you only up there for 11 minutes?
It honestly changed me so much that I'm going to have to change my name.
I'm gonna have to change my name, you guys. That's just what I'm gonna have to do. So I had to play around with that one. There was just too much. There was just too much there tonight. And I had it. This is the thing. Like, oh, I'll do something, and I'm like, oh, I should have. Like my husband, like you should have said, like now I feel like Neil Armstrong. Like now I know how Neil Armstrong felt. Like I should have thrown that in, and I should have done the flower. I didn't have the flower. But that Katy Perry had, but it was just like, it was so much. It was just too much. And then Gayle King, now she's upset because she's not being as well received. And here's her response to all of this.
What bothers me, because I've certainly read some of the things online, coming from people that I know, that I like, that I consider friends. And this is what I would say to that. Space is not an either or, it's a both and. And because you do something in space doesn't mean you're taking anything away from Earth. And what you're doing in space is trying to make things better here on Earth. What Blue Origin wants to do is take the waste here and figure out a way to put it in space to make our planet cleaner. I mean, Jeff Bezos has so many ideas, and the people that are working there are really devoted and dedicated to making our planet a better place. That's number one. Number two, have you been? Have you been? If you've been and you still feel that way after you come back, please let's have a conversation. Number three, please don't call it a ride. That is not a friggin' ride. Whenever a man goes up, you have never said to an astronaut, boy, what a ride. We duplicated the same trajectory that Alan Shepard did back in the day, pretty much. No one called that a ride. It was called a flight. It was called a journey, because a ride implies that it's something frivolous.
Okay, so she's going off. She's upset. She thought everyone was going to be like, "Wow, these are the new heroes. Like these women are heroes. There are here and are we're now we 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 are just amazed at what the accomplishment that they just made by going to space." Comparing herself to Alan Shepard, who was the second person in the world to ever go into space, and I believe he was the fifth person to walk on the moon. And the astronauts train their entire lives to be astronauts. They don't just suddenly fork out a couple $100,000 and then they get the label astronaut. Like there's extreme sacrifice involved in being an astronaut. And then I was shocked when she's like, "Have you been?" I'm like, "No, we haven't been, Gail." Like what? And that's just the disconnect with people that have so much money. Like they're like, "Have you not been? Like, have you not been?" Like to some, like, these little islands that all the rich people go to, or like just like certain things that they do, like, "Oh, have you not been?" I'm like, "No, I haven't been." Like, "Have you not been to space?" The way she said that was like, "No, I haven't been to space, nor do I have $250,000 to send myself to space, Gail." Just the response was like, "What? I'm sorry. Don't talk until you've been." Probably never will be. Okay. Ever will be, Gail. So anyways, that's a wrap for me, you guys. That's what went down this week. There's probably a ton of stuff that has happened since I got on here, but that is the recap. Oh, yes. Okay. And I also have to say this because I will never bring up the idea that it's all a hoax. Yes. A lot of people are saying it's a hoax only because of this. And I actually do have this video. Watch this.
What's going to come out of her mouth, but really her heart. And is that
See, so right there, this woman goes over and you can see the doors opening. Do you see that? Okay. Right there.
And is that Jeff Bezos?
And then she like peeks in and she's like, "No, don't open it yet." And then we go and we have to have Bezos come with a special tool because of the compression. And
Bezos out there right by the capsule,
Yeah,
kind of hard to see. That is.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here goes Jeff Bezos to open the hatch.
She didn't really close it again. Come on out, guys.
So now there's all this discussion taking place because you see prior, you see this woman walk up. If I do it kind of slow, she goes over, you see the door open there. Then she goes up and she's like, no, close the door, closes the door because we have to do a big show of it, right? We have to have Bezos go up there later with a special tool and he opens it. So it's like, people were like, well, what happened here? Like, did you even go to space? Was this all a show? Like, what are we watching? And I don't know, you guys. Like, I don't know. I don't trust anything anymore. I rarely believe anything I'm told, which is, it's bad to be in that place because I'm such a skeptic that I'm like, okay, sure. But I don't know what that was. And a lot of people are like, and some are saying they were able to open the door because they didn't fully go into space where you go. And then the compression is so great that you do actually have to have a special decompression take place and then a special tool to open the whole capsule or whatever. They're saying that that's why they were able to open it. Some are saying they didn't even go. It's all a show. It's all theatrics. I don't know. But that took the news this week a ton. So we had to cover it. And that's it. Like I said, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate you all. I do, Gaia, I don't know if Gaia's on here, but she reminded me, she's one of my supporters. She's like, don't forget to mention your Patreon. So I don't want to forget to mention my Patreon. I do have a Patreon where people can go to support me monthly. I do this all myself, all the satire, all of it. I write it, I edit it, I produce it, I put it up there, and these recaps as well. And it's going because I have support, a monthly support, and you don't have to give a lot. You can give a few bucks or whatever you feel led to, but it really does help me. I just dropped the link in the comments. And yes, a happy Easter to you, Christine, on Facebook. God bless you all. This is a great weekend because Jesus is risen, right? He didn't stay in that grave. He conquered sin, he conquered death, and he's coming again. And that's something to celebrate. So wishing you all a blessed Easter, blessed Resurrection Sunday. I'm thankful for you all. Thank you for all the video shares and comments. I do read them, and we'll talk soon. Bye, guys.